Hello. I am glad to see and hear everyone on the ICTERI 2020. I am Soroko Nataliia. I am employee of the Institute of Information Technologies and Learning Tools of National Academy of Educational Sciences of Ukraine. The topic of my report is methodology for teachers' digital competence developing through the use of the STEAM-oriented learning environment. The so-called inquiry-based science education is of particular importance for the information society development. One approach to developing inquiry-based science education is the STEAM approach, based on a project-based teaching method, focused on the development of skills to solve problems creatively, critically, and systematically, by using scientific knowledge within STEAM science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics. The main issue is the creation of conditions for the teacher's professional competences development in STEAM education fields, which should influence on the improvement of quality and modernization of education following world trends in science and education. We can state the particular importance of the teacher's digital competence development and the design of the STEAM-oriented learning environment, which can contribute to continuing teachers' professional competence development. At the same time, it is important to select the necessary methodology for the teacher's digital competence development. The article's goal is to define a content, forms, methods, and tools as parts of the methodology of using the STEAM-oriented learning environment for the teacher's digital competence development. According to the European Framework for the Digital Competence of Educators, 6 digital competence areas that focus on different aspects of teachers' professional work, using information and communication technologies ICTs for professional communication, collaboration and development, searching, creating and sharing e-learning resources, teaching, managing and organizing the use of ICTs in teaching and learning, assessing the use of ICTs and strategies to improve them, increasing students' opportunities through the use of ICTs, encouraging their learning through research work, promoting students' digital competence, in particular, by enabling students to use ICTs creatively and responsibly, to find information, communicate, create a content and solve problems. It is important to note that educators' digital competence is expressed in their ability to use digital technologies not only to enhance teaching but also for their professional interactions with colleagues, learners, parents, and other interested parties, for their individual professional development and the collective good and continuing innovation in the organization and the teaching profession. Taking into account the above mentioned, in our opinion, the digital competence of teachers is the readiness, ability and skills to use information and communication technologies autonomously and responsibly in their professional activities for solving individual problems and learning throughout their life. At the same time, it is important to ensure the continued development of teachers' digital competence, which can be supported by ICT and the creation of specialized environments such as, for example, the STEAM-oriented learning environment. The STEAM-oriented learning environment is one of the main trends in the world education. The STEAM-oriented learning environment, in our opinion, should be such an environment that performs the functions of a computer-oriented, mobile-oriented, cloud-oriented, open learning environment through practically oriented, interdisciplinary and project-based approaches in the study of natural and mathematical cycle disciplines by students. It should develop students' creative thinking through the use of different branches of the arts in the educational process and promote the development of teachers' digital competence for students to acquire key competencies and to get them motivated to study these disciplines, to explore various problems in science and be effective in integrating the subjects of primary and secondary education at the national and international levels. The teacher's digital competence development is one of the main goals for the creation and using the STEAM-oriented learning environment in schools. We conducted a survey to study their need to use ICT for the STEAM training in the school curriculum. The question, what information and communication technologies are needed to introduce STEAM education into the learning process in schools, was put to the teachers who took part in the webinar Information and Communication Technologies for the STEAM-Oriented Learning Environment in Schools 2019. 127 respondents reported on which information and communication technologies tools they would prefer for the creation and using the STEAM-oriented learning environment in schools. The participants evaluated the proposed ICT by using a 5-Likert scale ranging from very undesirable 1 to very desirable 5. The table demonstrates that teachers usually use information and communication technologies for creating and supporting the STEAM-oriented learning environment at school when performing general class activities, as teamwork and collaborative communication. Google Drive, Padlet, Moodle. Also, they use ICTs for assessment, Kahoot, Quizzes, but rarely for specific purposes. GoLab, Cyber Robotics Coding Competition, KQED Education. The mean values in next table indicate what kind of teachers' skills are important for implementing the STEAM approach in schools and creating the STEAM-oriented learning environment. This table demonstrates that teachers should develop such skills as using online tools to create and manage training projects, opening educational resources, online tools for conducting the seminar, forums and more, online security tools, online tools for creating tests and quizzes, online games. The teacher's answers to the question, what information and communication technologies are needed to introduce STEAM education into the school learning process, show that it is becoming highly important to use the following ICTs: online tools to create and manage training projects, opening educational resources, online tools for conducting seminar, forums and others, online tools for creating tests and quizzes, online security tools, online games. According to the results of the questionnaire, we have identified the current problems and issues regarding teachers using ICTs to improve the quality of their school STEAM projects and creation and using the STEAM-oriented learning environment schools. For the first time, we have defined the content, forms, methods and tools as constituents of the methodology for using the STEAM-oriented learning environment for the development of teachers' digital competence. The content as a component of the methodology for using the STEAM-oriented learning environment for the teacher's digital competence development includes the following modules: creation and use the STEAM-oriented learning environment for the teacher's digital competence development. Module 1: the STEAM-oriented learning environment in schools, consisting of the following topics: theoretical principles of creation and use of the STEAM-oriented learning environment in schools, creation and use of strategies for the STEAM-oriented learning environment in schools. Module 2: the use of information and communication technologies to organize and support the STEAM approach in schools, consisting of the following topics: e-learning resources as the means of teachers' digital competency development to support the STEAM-oriented learning environment in schools, electronic platform for organizing the STEAM-oriented learning environment in schools. Module 3: electronic learning resources on self-assessment and evaluation of teachers' digital competence to support the STEAM-oriented learning environment in schools, comprising such topics as requirements for assessing a teacher's digital competence for creation and support the STEAM-oriented learning environment, self-assessment of digital competence and its importance for teachers' professional development and support the STEAM-oriented learning environment in schools, planning training activities. The main tasks of learning are as follows: organizing practical and theoretical activity of the participants of the educational process, which is conditioned by the regularities and peculiarities of the content for pedagogical activity in the conditions of the STEAM-oriented learning environment in schools. Introducing theoretical and organizational basics of the STEAM-oriented learning environment in schools to students. Enabling students to acquire the necessary skills to create and use the STEAM-oriented learning environment in schools through the planning and organization of educational activities, lessons, educational projects, weeks on certain sectors for STEAM, etc. using ICTs. Raising the level for teachers' digital competence. The training process in the course is accompanied by such tools as personal computers, software, e-learning resources that include general educational resources, flashcards and quizzes, apps and websites, electronic libraries, web services for teamwork, tools for creating mental maps, search engines, resources for specific purposes of the STEAM-oriented learning environment, to review and study various scientific concepts by using models and simulations, programs and websites of robotics, online resource centers, labs, simulators. It is important to note that course participants choose e-learning resources, depending on their STEAM project goals. The form of education chosen for this project: formal, non-formal, informal, and the student's level of education. Educational electronic platform for the STEAM-oriented educational environment, which should facilitate the implementation of practical-oriented, interdisciplinary and project approaches in the study of natural mathematical disciplines and robotics, the formation of students' creative thinking through the use of various arts in the educational process. Examples of e-platforms for the STEAM-oriented educational environment. The course creation and use of the STEAM-oriented learning environment for the teacher's digital competence development is focused on improving teachers' digital competence, which will enable them to create and support the STEAM-oriented learning environment and STEAM projects for implementing STEAM education in schools. For example, we offer our project for evaluation of the course by the participants. They should identify the positive aspects of the project and suggest how it can be improved. We have created the project Robot and Human using educational e-platform GRASP. The teacher's digital competence development while implementing STEAM education in schools is one of the important decisions in the process of creation and support of the STEAM-oriented learning environment. Our specialized course creation and use of the STEAM-oriented learning environment for the teacher's digital competence development may facilitate this process due to providing the course participants with the research materials on implementing STEAM education in schools. The course participants will acquire knowledge of the content, forms, methods, and tools as parts of the methodology for using the STEAM-oriented learning environment. This process is impossible without proper methodical support for the teacher's training course, which provide instructions how to use and create e-learning resources, video lectures, give answers to common questions and the most interesting ones. The prospects for the further research are to analyze the effectiveness of the methodology of using the STEAM-oriented learning environment for the teacher's digital competence development, which can be evaluated through the course creation and use of the STEAM-oriented learning environment for the teacher's digital competence development. Thank you for your attention.